Okay, so with this introduction, I think it's a good time now to open the floor for students' questions. So Sneha, do you want to introduce the undergraduates, or if they can introduce themselves?
Sure, I can introduce them.
Can we start here?
Sure.
Hello, thanks for joining us today. My name is Jacqueline. I'm a junior here at Brandeis Undergraduate. I'm involved in Students for a Democratic Society, and generally, which is generally a group of activists on campus that are interested in supporting each other in fights against oppression. And do you want to introduce yourself first?
I'm going to ask you about that.
So my question is, throughout your time facilitating, what have you found to be the biggest obstacles towards having people understand each other's perspectives? And I was really interested when you said that Western culture has sort of been detrimental to your culture, and I was wondering if any particular aspects of Western culture have made facilitating more difficult.
I think that what makes really difficult. What's difficult for participants, okay, when they come from the two opposite sides and from the people who are in conflict. They are coming to the meeting. They are, as you can imagine, not empty. Okay, they are full with stereotypes about the other side. They are full with negative stereotypes, I would say, and ideas, and they know a lot about the other side without meeting the other side in the first time. They either heard about the other side from the TV, from their parents, from their teachers in the streets, wherever. And generally speaking, these participants, these people who really didn't have the chance to go through a personal experience with the other side, they built to themselves these negative stereotypes by helping them, by listening to the other people in their side, okay, their parents, their colleagues, their teachers. And when they come together, meet with the other side, the first thing that when they start to hear the other side, they get defensive. This is the first thing. They want to defend, first of all, they want to defend what they have in their mind. Okay, what they got, what they earned, okay, over the years. They want to defend that. It's not easy, really, to start to question your beliefs or your feelings. So this is the first thing. They defending themselves, defending their ideas, defending their feelings, and defending their people. Because if for example, let's say that if the Palestinian will blame or will start to share his daily life, which he's going through now in the territories, in the occupied territories, in the West Bank, for example, for the Israeli participant, he's somehow blaming the army. And who is the army? The army is people. The army is that's his people even. Maybe his brothers, his sisters, his father. I mean, so it's not easy for him, even sometimes, even if he believes that there is something there, it's right, okay, and it shouldn't be, but still, it's not easy for him to accept that. It's not easy for him to accept that his brothers or his sisters, and he is going also to be there, okay, in a while, in 1 year or 2 years, he's going to be there. So it's not easy. So I think that he finds himself many times the first reaction is really defense, to defend himself. But it's also, I would say, I mean, the Palestinian, for example, finds himself okay, in not easy situation or in a very difficult situation when, for example, okay, he is claiming for Palestine, okay. And the Israeli participant would say, okay, I am for it. I am for to give you, okay, to share with you. What about me? I mean, do I have the right to exist in Israel and in Israel? Without, I mean, side by side. Many Palestinians would say it would really be very difficult for them. Okay, it's part of Palestine. I mean, I am claiming for Palestine. I am Palestinian. Palestine for me, I mean, where I live now in Israel is Palestine. It's part of Palestine. I live in Al-Fahim in Musmus. Okay, it's part of Palestine. So it's not easy. It's not easy for the Palestinians. Not easy for the Palestinians. It's not easy for the Israelis. And the Palestinian finds himself, okay, in many cases, really, okay, in a dilemma, okay, even though he's not willing to say that he really thinks that this Israeli might be right. He has the right to exist. I mean, so it's not easy. So it's but the first thing that the Palestinian will say, okay, I think that no, he wouldn't agree. So it's a process, I would say. This is the first reaction. I just explained to you the first reaction, okay, what's the first difficulty for people. I mean, and I'm process-oriented. In our work, we are process-oriented. We believe in process, okay. We believe that the people starting from one point, getting to the other point, okay, when they leave us, okay, we believe that they believe different, okay, different.
We'll go on.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, my name is Aziz. I'm a senior at Brandeis, majoring in art history. I'm actually very interested in art from Pakistan. Yeah, and I'm very interested in just peacebuilding in the arts, especially as it intersects with visual culture. So I actually love the answers because I think this leads into my questions perfectly. I actually had two questions which I think link to what you said. One was you talked about, when people have a lot of like ideas of what the other side is, because they're hearing of the other side from like their own people, and there's a lot of propaganda. So I actually was wondering about the importance of bringing people from the nation of Israel and Palestine and Egypt and Jordan, where they're not really neutral, and you bring them to the US, yes, which is relatively neutral on the issue, and you and you can just and then how does that really foster dialogue? And because this is someone who's from India, told me the same thing about Pakistanis and Indians, that sometimes they need to be in another country to really talk to each other. Yeah. And then the second question that links to that, I think, is there's a lot of dilemmas, and people might be like, oh, you're actually right, but I don't want to admit that because of all the problems that I think are important here. And so I actually know that you were in a training program called Facing History in Ourselves. With Facing History in Ourselves, and I was very...
It's in your bio.
Okay. And I was very interested in just like the idea of really people facing history of each other, and history of the Palestinians and histories of the Israelis and the Jewish people, and how important is that? What process goes through that?
I believe that it's very important to learn history of the other side, to know the history of the other side, to know your history. I think it's important. I personally, when I participate in this program, Facing History and Ourselves, I was really moved. It's one of the most special experiences in China. It really taught me a lot about the Jewish history, not just the Holocaust, but part of it was really about the Holocaust and about these days also, about how we teach history, how we I mean, it's about that. But I believe that it's very important for all people in conflict, especially in conflict. It's good for all people to know. But I'm talking about people in conflict, okay, from both sides. I think it's very important for them to know the history of the other side. And there are some programs in Israel, by the way, okay, who are teaching the history, the Palestinian history and the Jewish history. I want to believe that in the Palestinian side also there are. I know that there is a special program teaching Hebrew now in the Palestinian side, and I believe that maybe there are some programs of teaching history in Israel. I'm not sure. What do we talk? First of all, okay, India and Pakistan are coming to Seas of Peace. Okay, in May we have groups who are coming here every summer. Listen, I think that first of all, it's important for people to come together, to meet, to go through this experience, to go through this dialogue. It's very important. I think it's the only option. If you have this option, I mean, what's the alternative? The alternative is really to stay in your side, in your country, in your way, in your place, and to think, to continue to think to carry with these negative things about the other side, and to have war. Okay, this is what we have in the Middle East. We are in a war situation. Period. I mean, war situation is not just killing each other, okay, in every day. But when the people, they're in occupied places, occupied territories, occupied cities, people who don't, I mean, to bring our kids to meet with the Israelis in Jerusalem, for example, we can't do that, okay? We need permits. To come to the States, they don't need permits, okay? It's easy, or they need visas. I'm sorry, but it's easier to get visas from the American embassy, especially if we are coming to the American camp. So, and I have to say that the founder of this program, he's Jewish American, he passed away, okay, and his name is John Wallach. He was a very famous author, okay, and he spent about, he told me that he spent about at least a year with Arafat, okay, in Tunisia, okay, when Arafat and the PLO were in Tunisia, and he put together one book or two books about Arafat, and he was worried about what's going on in the region, and he thought that it would be a good thing to pull these young people from their area, from their conflict area, to put them to here, and to, while they are here having good time in Maine, in a very beautiful place in Maine, they will realize that the other side has a face, and the enemy has a face, and the other side is a human being, and they will stop somehow to question their stereotypes, their beliefs about the other side. And this is what we have really. It works. It works because these young people are coming. We bring up every year about 200 kids, okay, to Maine, to this camp in 2 sessions. And besides the camp activities, the typical American camp activities which they have with fun all around, each participant, each camper has 2 hours of their dealing with the other side about his reality, about what's going on in his reality, about the conflict. And that the fact that we have around really, okay, this kind of activity does help us when we facilitate them, when we facilitate the groups. It's very helpful. We found it's very helpful. We found that it's really make the camp is complete. Okay, it's not all the time, okay, just dealing with the conflict. Okay, they have fun. Fun does help. Okay. Thank you very much.
You were away. Okay. So, Inba?
Hi, I'm Inba. I'm in the MA program, but I'm Israeli. And what I want to ask you relates to my experience, both as a participant in dialogue sessions and as a project manager of dialogue sessions. I worked in sports, so we did sport and dialogue, similar kind of fun. And the biggest challenge I found was what happens once the project ends, whether it's a month in Maine or it's a whole year of meeting once a week in Israel or Palestine. And then sustaining the personal as well as you kind of want a bigger effect. And usually the participants in my programs would say, now what, we want to do something, but what do we do? And this is especially true when it comes to teenagers who at 18 half go to the army and half see these friends which they trusted in uniforms. And how do you facilitate that sustainability of the process? How do you nurture the seeds that you grow in the camp? I have many others, but that's for
Thank you for raising that. I think it's very important. I think that it's very important. First of all, I have to say that without continuing programs even, I do believe that it's the one-shot meeting, okay, just for one time, for a period, for 2 days, 3 days, okay, and in our case in here, okay, in City of Peace is for a month. Even just that, it does help people, and people really wouldn't realize when they change, when they will feel the change, okay. I see the campers, okay, when they leave the camp after a month, they don't want to leave. We have a crying sessions, okay, really, okay, before they leave, the last day. I mean, it's just amazing. You don't believe it. Okay, the people they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave each other, and it's impossible. First of all, it is impossible to really to provide each one of these people with a continuing activity, okay, with a program, where he can find himself, okay, he can participate in the program back home. We are lucky with the Seeds of Peace really that people really realize that importance, and they open an office. They have an office in Ramallah, have an office in Tel Aviv, and they have ongoing activities for graduates, for people who went through the camp. They go back home. And they hire people to do some ongoing activities, some continuing activities after that. In my mind, it's not enough, but at least, okay, the people are trying, people that they believe that they should continue to do something. I agree with you, okay, about I have some participants, some campers who went to the army. Some of them told me, honestly, okay, we put our experience with Seeds of Peace aside, or they told me in the void, somehow in the rough, and we went through the experience in the army. They want to do their duty in the army, and it's very complicated for them really it's not easy. Recently, okay, the last 2 years, okay, we did initiate a uninational kind of work for teenagers who are serving the army. So they are coming just together as a group, okay, doing some work for them, special work. By the way, okay, doing uninational work, it's part of the work. It should be part of the work. I mean, even in the camp when we are doing the dialogue, when we do the dialogue group, it's very important to remember that there is a need for the people to be together, okay, to process the experience, to help them processing the experience just by themselves, not with the other side.
Hi, my name is Ashraf. I'm from Jordan, Civic student here, and my experience, I've sat on many facilitation meetings, dialogue meetings in Iraq, Sudan, Chad, Tunisia, Morocco, Libya, And it was a different kind of dialogue sessions because it's usually between organizations or organizations and governments regarding emergency response, refugee problems, and even in that, which is supposed to be a little bit wiser, let's say, there was always the problem of people being loyal to their own thoughts, to their own prejudices, to their own minds, to their own ideas. And I was wondering, as a facilitator who's new in the field, how important is it to be, as you said, to empty your emotions and your ideas and go there empty soul and just being receptive to everything and being able to listen and give a non-biased opinion and help mediate things. And how important is that, and how do you practice that? How do you check yourself every once in a while as a facilitator and say, well, I have to run myself, exercise these checks and see how I can maintain that?
Thank you, Ashraf. Thank you, Ashraf. First of all, I think that it's important to know that there is a difference, a slight difference between mediation and facilitation. The facilitators really, we don't bring ourselves, we don't bring ideas, we work with the people with whatever they bring to us. And working with them, I mean we are helping them to understand themselves, to understand what they are saying. And by reflecting to them what they are saying, by sometimes rephrasing to them, okay, some things which they are saying, sometimes the person will say, wow, did I say that? Okay, so, I mean, it's a, and also, okay, I mean, educating them to listen to the differences that they hear from the other side. I mean, it's very important. This is the kind of work where really we as facilitators, sometimes why we need to be empty, sometimes we have to listen to the person, to be able to listen to the person, what he is saying, without even saying the words. Without, if he, sometimes the person wants to say something and he doesn't really express that in words. So it's very important. I said that, Ashraf, that it's very important for us facilitators and to find the space, our own groups, where we can participate, where we can be able, where we're able to really express our feelings. I personally, still always, okay, I'm looking for places for really opportunities to do that, and I have with my colleague, for example, I am facilitating with one of my colleagues in Co. We always have go over the fights. We are fighting all the time, really, because we are fighting because the conflict is still there. I mean, we didn't solve it yet. You see,
So I want to ask you a question. But I know I did, but and then we're opening it up. But I'll ask you one more. I think it builds on Inbal's question. Really, it's an ethical question. I mean, how ethical is it to invite these people to become friends when one of them is going to be in a military against the other, like in a year or 2 or 3? Yeah. Why? What are your concerns? What are your ethical questions about that, and how do you grapple with that?
Well, first of all, I think that maybe I took to myself a very easy way to go out of it, and the basic point, the basic idea is that we are dealing with Israelis and Palestinians, and there is a basic idea also that Israelis are going to the army. They are serving the army. All Israelis have to go to the army. I mean, all Israeli Jews, I would say, have to go to the army, to serve in the army. So what's my alternative? Is just to leave it and to say that it's not really I can't do it. I shouldn't bring Israelis and Palestinians together. I don't believe in that. First of all, I believe that, and I said that I believe even in the short program, in the short dialogue, in the short meeting. I believe that these people who are going through our work, they are not the same. They are not the same, and when they go to serve in the army, they wouldn't be like the others. They would be different. Maybe I want to convince myself that this is. I am pretty sure that a seeds of peace graduate, if he will stand really in the checkpoint in Canandia, okay, it's the checkpoint between Jerusalem and Ramallah, he would respect the people there. He wouldn't really treat the people in inhuman. I think that this is I believe in that because I see the people when they leave me, okay, when they leave the process, when they leave really the program which they are in us. And this is question are being raised in the group. Okay, I mean Palestinians, when we have the arguments, okay, when we have the dialogue, okay, they are saying to their fellow Israeli Jews, okay, you are going to serve in the army in 2 years, 3 years. And maybe you will come to my home, maybe you will come to my village. I mean, these kind of issues are being discussed in our groups. So it's not easy. I agree with you. It's not an easy situation, but this is the reality. This is our reality. I can't say that there is no way that we Palestinians can, or the Palestinians can meet really with the Israelis because the Israelis are going.
So let's open it up for some questions.
Yes. So how do you?
It's nice and loud, please.
Yeah.
Name, please.
Yeah, my name is Ali, and I'm a graduate student at coexistence program. So how do you, assess your impact if you have these problems, and how do you overcome these problems? If you know that people will go home and will serve for the Israeli military or for Palestinian groups, what is the impact then?
Well, I think that I partially answered the question. I mean, first of all, they are not going back home to go to the army. They still have 2 or 3 years, okay, to go to the army, okay, after the experience. And I said that there are some programs, okay, following program, which follows really the experience here. We don't leave them with the experience here. I said that the basic idea we know, and the Palestinian participants know, everyone knows that the Israelis, should go to serve in the army. It's a law in Israel that everyone should go there and everyone will go there. And we don't build on these people who are maybe don't go. Okay, we know that the majority, okay, they are going. So in one hand, okay, we continue to work with these people there. I said that just recently we had really, okay, past 2 years, okay, we had uninational work for the Israelis who are serving in the army. And I see what's happening after the experience here. I see that how much the Palestinian participants and the Israeli participants want really to continue together to look for some ways to improve their future. I mean, this is a huge impact, really, which I see, okay, coming out of our work.
So when you asked the question, how do you assess the impact? Am I right? You're assessing it primarily on the changes in the individual.
The impact is great. It's a very not tricky, but it's a very difficult question because I am in this business, okay, for so many years, and the conflict. I just said that the conflict is still there. I mean, sometimes I feel that even the situation is getting worse. Okay, not in the macro. Okay, and yes, what really keeps me going is when I see the changes, okay, in the individuals, okay, in the people, in the participants, even though the situation is still the same or worse, but I see the change. I believe that people really can change. Human being can change. This is a very deep belief which I have, and I see these people who are going through the experience, okay, through the process. I mean, in the first day, they refuse even to look to the person, or to listen to the person, or to see to the person, to see the person. And they got defensive. Okay, it's very hard to them to listen or to hear anything. And through the process, the more really they are together, okay, the more they're able to accept things, and to accept the other side, and to accept the differences between each other. So I don't measure really, okay, the situation. It's very complicated, okay, because I know what's happening there. What's happening there, it's really getting worse. Things getting worse. Not now it's good.
First, thank you so much for coming. My name is Farhat Agbaria. I'm from Hub.
I don't say. Same family. It's what's his name? Forsan.
Sam's my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is fun. So I graduated from here in May, and now I'm doing my master's in the business school. So I have a comment on the question. The comment is about your question, involves question. So I think what makes it sustainable is the degree of belief of coexistence and peace in the future. For example, like I spent all my life, I've never gone to Seeds of Peace, which I regret, but I spent it in another similar program called Shamish, and Shamish used to bring Jews and Arabs in the gap. Yeah, exactly. So I participated in Shamish like since I was 6 years old, 5 years old, as a camper, summer camper, and then I became volunteer, and then I led a few groups in the summers before I came to Brandeis. And in Shamish, in this camp, I made a lot of great relations with Jewish friends from nearby Mushavim or Jewish towns near Shab. And one of my closest friends is in the army, so he entered the army right after high school. When I came to Brandeis, he entered the army, and today he's a very high level, like commander in one of the units. And we're still talking, and I'm really happy that he got this high level in the army, because now when he goes to Palestinian villages, I kind of trust. I mean, I trust him, because he knows me, and he will never, I mean, like being at Shamish and being exposed to Arabs, Palestinian Israelis, is a great plus for Jews who go to the army, because they have at least sense of what an Arab is, right? So they won't have this blind thinking that if he's an Arab, he's a terrorist or something like this. So this was like a comment, and my question for you is. How would you deal with the trust issue? Like, I think like bringing two groups together has to have a lot of trust, like level for like the two groups have to trust the facilitator. And being a Palestinian and Israeli, how do you deal with the trust? Like, I would rather to have like if I'm Palestinian and there is an enemy, or not an enemy, if there's like the Israeli side and the Palestinian side, I would rather to have a facilitator from Australia or from Asia, because he would be, I guess, more. He won't be fair, but like the two groups will have a better sense, or a better feeling for the facilitator. Whereas like now, how do you? So it's getting really complicated. But like, the bottom line, the bottom line, like how do you, from a Jewish point of view, it would be really hard to trust the facilitator since he's Palestinian.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it?
So you say that we should fire all our...
No.
Bring Australian. It's my nice idea.
I'm saying that's a tough job. They have to trust.
First of all, you are right. Okay, there is a trust issue there. It's not easy. Okay. For the facilitator, okay, it's not easy. One of his really first job is really to get the trust of the group, of his group. The way to get that is really through his work. It's really to gain the trust of the people. Okay, to gain the trust of the group. I believe that the people are very smart. Okay, when they see the way you work, what you are doing in the group. Okay, what you are saying them. Okay, how much you are you are fair, being fair also. Okay, are you challenging just the Israelis, for example, or you also do the same work with your people, with your group, okay, with the Palestinians? It's a challenge for the participants. For the facilitators, it takes time, but over the time, I believe that good facilitator should get the trust of the entire group, because while we are working with two facilitators, with two one Israeli and one Palestinian, especially not just because of that what you are saying. I mean, even though we are working with two, we still believe that each one of them should facilitate the group, the entire group, okay, and see himself and work with the entire group. But we work also with two, and we believe that they should come from the area. There's nothing wrong with the American facilitators or with the Islamic facilitators, but for the conflict. Okay, we are part of the conflict, and there is some consequence which really a person who is outside the conflict, who is far from the conflict, who is not part of the conflict, it would be very difficult for him to understand. I think that when I have for example, a facilitator from Nablus dealing with participants from Nablus and from Hebron and from this occupied group, and he himself going through the same experiences. That I think that first of all, it's very easy for the kids to trust him and for him really to trust the kids, and also he will be able to understand it much more than the other facilitator or other facilitator from other countries.
Other questions? Yes.
Hello, my name is Tarek, and I just finished working actually with the CTPs and the educator programs.
Program?
Educators program. And I remember there was like an incident where the Palestinian and Israelis got in an argument, and the idea of like I'm the victim and you're the victim came up, and there was a chaos in the room, and the Israelis just left the room and the Palestinians were screaming. So how do you deal with such cases, and if any case came up while you do it?
You were there?
Yes.
Did you stay in the room or you left the room?
I was on steps, so I had to stay.
Okay, this program is another program, okay, which is called the educator program. It's after when the campers leave home. Okay, because of Ramadan this year we had just one session, and last year we had just one session for the teenagers. So we don't bring teenagers in Ramadan to seeds. We bring, instead of that, okay, seeds bring educators from the region. I'm not taking part with that because I went back to Ramadan to fast. So with my wife, we stayed over we went back. I heard about that situation. Unfortunately, okay, I'm not involved, and I think that there is no coexistence. There is no dialogue group. I don't know if there are dialogue group, okay, in this program. I don't know, but something you are telling me something which is very important. I will take it back to Daniel Moses, and we'll see what he's in charge of the program. I think that I want to believe that if they would have really participate in a facilitation group, and if they would have this incident and they would bring it to the group to be facilitated with professional facilitators, I would say that they will gain out of it.
I mean, on the personal level, people were fine. Like after the dialogue has ended, people were just talking, and but it took a while. But whenever the conflict, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict comes up, they will go back to the same level. So you can have 600 dialogue sessions, but if people keep coming to the same issues and the core issues of the conflict are not solved, I don't see why keep doing dialogue.
What are you trying to say? You are trying to say something.
I just said what I wanted to say.
That you say that if you don't solve the conflict, it doesn't worth it.
No, I'm saying is it's worth it because people relationships get improved while doing dialogue sessions, and trust and misconceptions about the other side has changed. But whenever the conflict comes up, let's say the settlements, the refugees, and anything that relates to the conflict, people go back to the old mentality that came with.
Yeah. I disagree. Okay? I mean, I disagree if the people really go, if the people go through the process and do the work with the professional people, with the professional who will help him to discuss and to. The basic idea here really is to help the people to accept differences, to accept the idea or that there is another side. The other side is human being. The other side has his own needs, and he should have his rights. And yes, you are right. We are not able to change the entire situation and to really to finish the occupation and to somehow to remove the settlements and to solve the conflict. But we do believe that the more people we are able to educate in that term of accepting the other side, of accepting each other, is the better, because we believe that some of these people will lead us, okay, in the future. Okay, some of them will really reach some leadership, okay, roles and positions, and they will. Then I believe, I want to believe, because I'm in this business, that then our situation will be much better.
But I think the session I attended, most people who came were repeated people. That means they're not new people. There were a few people who were new. So if you keep educating the old people you bring to the camp,
you are sharing with me, okay, about something which I don't belong to it. I mean, this education.
Well, it's not just about this program. I attended another program with another NGO and somewhere else. So I found this problem in both NGOs.
So it sounds like the question is, when you're facilitating a dialogue, and things become very heated, and maybe even people leave, then what's the process that you go through so that people can learn from that and build a stronger relationship, as opposed to always have to back away, right? That's the worry, that they can sort of be polite, but when they really talk about the conflict issues, then they become polarized again. So maybe just in general terms, as a facilitator in a situation like that, how do you work, like what is your goal in working with the group? You said one thing is to have people accept that there's another point of view, that there's something very different. Is there anything else that you would want to do in general terms as a facilitator in a group that's come to this point? Because I can say just briefly for myself that when I was in Seeds of Peace, and these moments happen, sometimes the best conversations happen after those moments, because people have really been honest and they've really seen each other.
First of all, it really, it does happen sometime. Okay, I want to believe that it doesn't happen that much when you do your job the right way. I believe, as a facilitator, I believe that good facilitator should not somehow, if he's doing his job, I mean, participants, the group shouldn't reach that point of leaving, not having a heated discussion. And it's something I think that's very healthy, and we do have very heated discussions. We allow people really to shout. We allow people to express themselves, okay, in a very voicey way. But they don't leave the group, okay? If someone will leave the group, generally speaking, what we do, okay, we are two, and one of us, okay, really follow him or follow her, okay, trying to do some work with him outside and bring him back to the group. We believe that everything should be discussed really in the group, okay, and legitimate. Part of our job is really to give legitimacy in the group, is to discuss anything which the people would like to bring to it.
Yes. Thank you. Michal, I teach you transitional justice, and I want to restate the skeptic view, which was first from Iqbal and from Ali, and I think Tarek too. I'm in the business of making peace, and I have limited resources. And I'm asking myself, why should I invest in those coexistence programs? We now have 20 years of experience, post-Oslo experience in Israel, and the data almost all over shows that there is this interpersonal, the personal changes are true and people report about personal change, but we see no effect whatsoever on decision makers, on the conflict, on levels of violence, no effects whatsoever. So if I'm in the peacemaking business, why should I keep pouring resources to coexistence? Can I just invest them in more useful peacemaking initiatives, demonstrations, sanctions, I don't know, things that may move things. I know I'm being provoked, but I'm asking, that's my...
I believe that we are in the business of peacemaking as well. I mean, we are not talking about coexistence. Okay, it's not the. We bring Palestinians from the occupied territories and from Gaza, okay, to meet with the Israelis, and we believe that at least we are trying to promote peace. I think that it's very legitimate to invest in many other causes as well. I mean, all to help peace in different ways. I don't believe that our way is the best way or the only way. Okay, I think that we should have. We don't have really the means and we don't have the programs to work with the decision makers. Well, I agree with you that this group of people should be really invested. Okay, somehow they should go to the other group. They should go to CCP. They should go to the other groups. I totally agree with you. Okay, the problem is they are our problem. Okay, they are really decision makers. And just recently, okay, we are starting a program in Israel-Palestine for the parents of the seeds. I mean, seeds who are coming to be granted to the camp. We opened 6 groups, okay, of parents. Okay, one in Ramallah, one in Turkey, and one in Jerusalem, and the one in Haifa. Okay, or the other one somehow. So I have 3 groups of parents, a group in Israel and 3 groups, okay, in Palestine for the Palestinians. It's not enough, I agree. And all of us together, all groups who are dealing with coexistence, with peace, all of us together, we don't cover maybe 8% of the population. I mean, it's very, very little. We don't. Very little. This is
So we have about 15 minutes left, and I want to get these questions out and then give you a chance to answer them. So anyone who wants to ask a question, we'll take questions, and then we'll see if Farhat has time to answer them. So while we've been waiting.
So a remark and a question. A remark regarding what Tarek was saying was that I managed groups that some of them were without dialogue and some of them were with dialogue on the conflict issues, as you were saying, and it was absolutely clear that the ones without dialogue that were just fun were very superficial friendships that break in a minute afterwards. And the ones that really got into the issues were the ones that trust was based on a much more profound base, and therefore they really felt they knew one another even if they couldn't solve the conflict. And so it was much more meaningful. And question, have two. A challenge I always have is how do you move from this is my friend Ashraf and this is my friend Iqbal to maybe a lot of people are like Ashraf, a lot of Palestinians could be my friends from the personal that some of my participants would say, well, he's okay, but he doesn't represent, and so on. To getting people to feel that maybe it does represent, and then maybe they can reach out to more people. And the other is regarding normalization issues, especially in the Palestinian territories, and these projects not being able to come out, and if you do anything to reach out to institutions, to the politics in Palestine especially, but also in Israel, to give a bit more legitimization to this thing.
Before Farhat answers, does anyone else want to put some question on the table, or we'll go with this one? Aziz?
I just think that, I guess I'm in the next sort of base discussion what you said, but I mean, it's the issue of time as well, right? Like, what is the issue of time? Because I mean, these people are, what, when they're going 15 years old? Yeah. Right, when they make seats of peace? Yeah. I mean, none of us are like going to be decision makers, at least in the next like 30 years, yeah. Right? So, I mean, if this has been going on since 1990s, then we can't really say, oh, we're not really affecting decision making. I mean, and so, I wanted you to like maybe touch a bit upon this like sort of slow, gradual process, because it is such a slow process. I mean, and it sucks because, I mean, if you die, I mean, it's like the way I put it is like, you know, if you build a building, it takes a lot to build a building, and then it can be bombed in one day and then it's over, right? But then you have to like keep on doing that, and it takes a long time for that to happen. So maybe touch on that.
Okay, I would.
Is there another comment?
My question is really quick. So just based on your question, the previous one, I think so we know I'm like a third generation, and I'm sure you're second, like being in Israel, Palestinian, and I think the younger the generations, the more acceptable they are, and the easier to facilitate, you know, these groups with them. And the reason why, because the more this is like just my point of view, and I would like to hear your comment on it. And I think like for example, my kids will be more open to, you know, to discuss, you know, these issues, or they will be more open for the conflict, like with dealing with Jews, than me, and obviously than my grandparents, because they lived it, we didn't live it, right? We just hear about these stories and we have this anger. I mean, we inherited the anger, right? Like, whereas they won't. They would get some, but as a slight, like at my, like a, like you get my point, right?
Yeah, I got
so I think that yes. What do you think of that?
I disagree with it.
You disagree?
There were three questions, so.
Okay, it's
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Osama Happy from Hebron, Palestine. I want just to make some comments about life of Ashraf and life of you. You live in, let's say, okay, excuse me to use this word, in the occupation territory of Palestine, historic Palestinian, okay? I can't say Israel.
You cannot?
I can't say.
Okay, you can say.
So, what I want to say, maybe there's something you and Ashraf cannot understand about our life, because already, I mean, me and Tariq, okay, Tariq, he lived in camp, and that's enough for him to live in camp. And he's already a refugee inside his homeland. It's better than refugee and in Jordan or in out of his country. Okay, what I want to say that, okay, I disagree in not a lot, but quite enough points with you and Ashraf, and about the new generation of people and the children and etc. I want to say that maybe Ashraf, you come to visit West Bank, and you feel how the people is living there, and maybe also you go to Jordan, you saw, I don't know if you was, but you saw the refugees there, how they live. And I will not make it common, but almost like 90% of Palestinians,
they are really under the poor line. And what I want to say, another comment, that okay, it's good that there's a Palestinian and Israeli meet each other, and it's enough. There's make hope that there's a peace or chance for peace in the future, and I'm sure the far future. But what I want to say, that you work in seeds of peace, and when the seeds is growing up, so do you think when it will arrive leader, will be leader in the future? Maybe in Palestinian and Israeli conflict, it's difficult and it's different about other conflicts. Because as a Palestinian, I can say that we are the weak side. We are not strong. So, do you think that when they will be leaders in the future, the Israeli side will make a conclusion for Palestinian to have this peace finally? Do you think this program it helps? Thank you.
We really only have like about 5 or 6 more minutes, so I'm going to let Farhat respond.
Good question. Usama, first of all, I am professional facilitator. I really don't decide for the Palestinian to come to these meetings and to come to have a dialogue with the Israelis. I'm not the person. I mean, there are Palestinian facilitators who are facilitating the group, Palestinian facilitators who are coming from the West Bank, who are coming from Jerusalem, who are under the occupied territories. Okay. Even though I believe that I consider myself as Palestinian as well, and I can really facilitate such a group. On the other hand, you are right. Okay, we seeds of peace didn't succeed up to now, and I don't think that in the near future they will succeed to solve the conflict. The conflict, there are, listen, okay, I think that I would say that it would be unfair to put or to ask even seeds of peace or any other program, such seeds of peace really to solve the conflict. It's a very complicated conflict, and the people who really would solve it, okay, I believe, is the leaders from both sides. Okay, somehow, okay, sometime. I believe that the more support they will get from the ground, from the people, from the crowd, I think that would be helpful. I think that if we can find more Palestinians who will really push, and more Israelis who will push really the leaders in Israel to make peace, I think that we might get them. Okay, I believe that hopefully we will get it in my lifetime, I hope. But who knows? I mean, it's very complicated. It's not easy. I think that from the beginning I said, I mean, with all what we are doing, the situation is getting worse. Okay, and this is for you. And we are talking here not about the Palestinians in Israel. We are talking about all Palestinians. We are talking about Palestinians in the occupied territories, Palestinians in Gaza, and yeah, we had the camp. We had some from Gaza, okay, who came really to the camp, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Now, other questions. To continue with your statement. Listen, the situation even inside Israel, I believe, it doesn't get better. I would say it's even worse. Yes, you can find more teenagers who are going to the Jewish towns and to the malls, and they're spending their time in the malls there, but and maybe okay feel really more comfortable okay going there. But still, when you talk seriously about the rights, about your rights as a minority, as who lives there, who as a citizen of the state of Israel, and you see the gap. The gap is not getting really it's the same gap, or even worse, I would say. Now they just announced a university in Ariel. Okay, do we have any university? Okay, for the Arabs in Israel? No. I mean, it's a lot. The situation also there, it's not getting easy. I would say that our main problem is the Palestinian case, is the Palestinian problem. I would believe that if we will reach a solution, okay, if the two states, two parties, two peoples will reach a solution for the Palestinian problem, for the Palestinian case, and the Palestinian will get free, will have an independent state, I want to believe that our situation as a minority in Israel will get better. Okay, then maybe we will start really to somehow to narrow the gap as a citizen of the state of Israel. But while we have the conflict the way it is now, I'm not that hopeful.
Last
your question?
It's about normalization issues in
Yeah.
institutions, and about moving from one person to generalization. How do you move them?
Well, how I really move them, it's not easy. Okay, I mean, I said that I believe in the personal experience. These people are going through their personal experiences. When they come home and sit to peace, when they come home, even it's very difficult for their parents to understand them, to understand what they are going through. When they shared with their parents, the experiences which they went through here in the camp, many parents are being shocked. Wow, okay, what are you telling us? Okay, is that true? It's very hard to believe their kids about what they are sharing. And from there, really, we came with the idea of having a group of parents, okay, to go through a personal experience, okay, not the same experiences, but okay, somehow relative, similar. Meeting with the other side and going through the stereotypes or going through through differences and trying to find a common really ground for both people, and to realize that the other person who is a human being, and we can be together, we can talk together, we can speak together, and somehow with time maybe we can reach some trust between each other. About the normalization issue, it's a very tough issue, okay, in the Palestinian side. I mean, what the Palestinian teenagers are doing is exactly what their leaders are refusing to do. I mean, at least for now, I mean, for the last 3 years, 4 years, we didn't have any negotiation, any formal negotiation between the Palestinian leaders and the Israelis. What's important is that the leaders, the Palestinian leaders, do send their kids to sit to peace. I mean, the grandchildren of Abbas, okay, have been here, okay. I mean, the others as well. I mean, they send their children, they send their sort of, they are saying that it's fine, it's legitimate, but they are not taking responsibility, okay, as a leaders for our program, for Sit to Peace. Okay. No one there, I mean, in Israel we are working with the Ministry of Education. Okay, the Ministry of Education is taking really care of the selection. Okay, I mean, Sit to Peace, when John Wallach initiated it, we believe that he should work with the governments. And the Ministry of Education in Israel is still, since that time, they still really care of the selection, they're in charge of the selection. And we meet the kids just when they come here, okay, when they bring them with their delegation leaders and we meet them in the camp. Maybe I would say 10 years ago, okay, as a matter of fact, since Hamas came to power on the election, which they had, okay, I think that C2P somehow, okay, the ministries stopped working with C2Ps, and since that time we don't succeed, or C2Ps doesn't succeed really to find a Palestinian ministry or Palestinian minister who is willing to say this program is legitimate, I am taking care of it, I am taking care of this election, and go for it. Somehow, yeah, they are facing, and the kids, the campers, the Palestinian campers, when they go home, they are facing really tough time.
Unfortunately, we need to end our conversation here, but let me say one thing about this issue of extending the change. One question I think we might have is whether, in fact, there is a role for artists who go through facilitation and dialogue to present the change or the narrative or the change in their consciousness in a way that it's accessible to more people. And with that, I just want to invite you all to come to a very important, I think, exhibit that's at the Rose Art Museum here on campus that highlights the narrative of a Christian Palestinian narrative from the city of Lod, and the opening is tomorrow night. And I mean, it's an open question, I think, that would be interesting perhaps for you to consider what role that might play. With that being said, just to thank Farhat for coming and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.